College football 27 is almost here, and many of us are going to be loading up dynasties soon. So I'm going to show you how I track my dynasties from day one, season one, and show you the process I go through with that. I am the creator of CFB Clipboard, a tool I built for tracking your online dynasties so your players are always remembered and seasons are remembered. I'm going to take you through step by step how I go about the process of tracking my dynasties. So let's get into it. So here I'm in the offline dynasty screen, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new dynasty. And there's a bunch of teams you can select from. You can either scroll down to the list or you can just search. So I'm going to be using Nebraska, and then it'll show you each pipeline you have. This is a tool I added. If I click on this, it shows tier 3 pipeline. It highlights the state or the area. We'll just hit continue, and then next you're going to want to name your dynasty. So I'll just name this Nebraska Test, and we're going to start in 2025 because for these purposes I'm showing you on college football 2026. And then the coach, we are just going to use Mick Rule as our coach, and then create dynasty. As you can see, the dynasty has been created. This will be your dashboard. There's two ways that you can track stats, either game by game, so meaning after you're done with each game, or just in general, you're gonna put in your player stats for that game. The other way you can track your dynasties is by using end of season. So this means like you don't care about tracking your game by game stats. You just want to enter the end of the season stats for players. For example, Emmett Johnson 1,500 yards, and that's it. So you won't have stats game by game. Anyways, we got the dashboard. It'll show you where to start. It'll give you kind of like you started in preseason. It'll say, enter your schedule here, enter your roster here. If I click here, it'll take me to the roster, or here, take me into schedule and whatnot. So first, I'm gonna show you how I upload my rosters in. So we'll go over to this player personnel section. This is kind of how you can manage your whole entire roster, whether it's depth chart, recruiting, off season. So you can either enter players manually. It's pretty self-explanatory. You just fill out this form and it'll enter the player into the roster for you. Or if you don't want to do that, you can upload your roster using images. So you can either take just snapshots with your phone and upload them that way, and you can use this on your mobile device. If you don't want to do it that way, you can use a USB drive. I like to do that. The only thing that sucks is EA's naming convention on roster is like, for example, it's E.Johnson. It's not Emmett Johnson. So that's kind of annoying, and also it can't capture like the height and weight and everything because you're gonna just have the player name and then like their position, overall, and what their class is, and that's about all you can capture from that. I like to use a website I found called Team Crafters. I'll just kind of show you that. So here is Team Crafters. I'll just kind of take screenshots like so, take a screenshot all the way to overall, and then I'll use those screenshots to upload. Anyways, we'll get into uploading the roster. So here, I'm gonna click roster upload, and I'm gonna go into where I have it already saved. I have a bunch of screenshots saved. I clicked on one image, so it's immediately gonna start uploading it. It can take 1 to 2 minutes or so because it's trying to parse through all the data and enter it. I'm just gonna show you this first image. As you can see, it entered in most of the data. If you want to go in and add hometowns and dev traits, you can just hit this little edit button and it takes you into it. But anyways, we'll upload the rest of them. You can see we went up. We have 43 players now, so I'll upload the next 3. I now have all 85 of my players uploaded. You can scroll through, you can see all of them. You can also like sort by class if you want, overall, however you want to do it. It's pretty intuitive. Also, there's this roster analysis feature. It'll tell you where you're thin. So right now it's saying that I'm thin at the tight end position. My average overall is only 73. Also, right now it's saying there's no elite or star devs because I haven't manually added those in yet. If you want to mark players as red shirts, you can just click this little button here. Just to show you, I will mark this guy as a red shirt. Now it'll highlight his jersey red, and say that he is redshirting. A couple other things is if you want to, you can click on a player name. It'll take you to their sort of player profile. Here, it'll show you the stats that they have if they have any. Also, if you go into the bio and info, it allows you to upload a photo or a background image. And here you can also mark as a legacy player. So I'll just do that for Emmett Johnson. This will add him to your Hall of Fame, and you'll see that later. Now that we have the roster uploaded, it automatically crosses that off. It says we have the roster uploaded. So now we're going to enter the schedule. We'll click on the schedule tab. Again, I'm going to upload via screenshot. Here I have both of the screenshots of my actual game screen. I transfer them via USB drive. So I'll click open. After it sends the request, it will show you kind of a confirmation screen so you can edit this if you want. Just to make sure everything was entered in correct. To me, it looks like it's all fine. We're gonna click save 12 games. It'll save the schedule, and here you have your entire season for the year. A couple things you can do is you can like view stats if you had entered them. If you want to enter stats in this way, you can press this little thing. It'll let you enter player stats, or you can edit the games. And I usually do that after every single game, just so you can see scores and whatnot. Now I've entered all the data that I'd like to enter. Everybody uses the site a little differently, but there's many tools. Like if I wanted to add in my coordinators, I can. I reloaded and refreshed so I could advance to week 1. So if I do that, I can click advance to week 1. It's gonna put us in week 1. It doesn't really do much besides, tell you what your upcoming game is. And then also here you can enter a result. Here I'm gonna enter in my game result, so I'll just click edit button, and I will say, what my opponent scored, what I scored, and I'll click update game. From there, it will update my game. Now I have that game entered. It shows the result and everything. It has moved my record to 1-0. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into game stat entry, and I'm gonna enter the stats for that first game. So I'll click from this drop-down list, click week 1. Now I'm gonna drop in my screenshots. Again, you can only do 3 images. We will click parse screenshots. Again, this might take a little bit. After it's uploaded, it's gonna take you to a confirmation screen. Here you can just read through to make sure that the stats did line up with what you have. I'm just scrolling through, making sure everything looks good. I'm gonna click save 30 players. Wait a second, and it should save those. Now that we're done uploading a game, what I can do now is I like to go into my weekly newsroom. This is a tool that's only used for tracking game by game stats because you kind of need each game result. So here I have week 1, and I can select from about 6 different tones. The insider, he's going to be, someone that's like acts as if he has inside information. You've got the instigator. He likes to kind of stir the pot. Film room, he's going to get more technical, and so on. So I'm going to actually use the Will Compton. I added this as like someone who's like the ultimate fan, thinks his team is going to the Natty every year. So we'll click on the Will Compton, and we'll click generate recap. That recap has now been generated. So here's the beat writer story. You can kind of look through and read what it says. It's we are back. He's acting like we're going to the Natty. It gives you like 3 takeaways. So that's mostly the quick stats that happen within your game. It also ranks the offense, defense, and special teams. If you want to read the whole thing, you can click this. And then also, here's just another thing. It's a featured story. It just shows the key stats again. And then here you have a season tracker. You got a fan pulse on the side. It's like Twitter handles acting as if they're tweeting out. And then here you can see the box score, which is pretty cool. And so that's how the beat writer works. Next, I'm gonna upload the rest of my games. I will show you what it looks like at the end of the year. All right, I now have all of my game stats uploaded. So I'm gonna show you kind of what I usually do next in terms of tracking. So next we're gonna go into recruiting, and here you can upload recruits. There's a couple of different ways you can go about it. You can either upload it via an image, or you can just add the prospect. I personally like just adding the prospect because usually I'm only bringing in 15 to 20 players a year, so it's pretty quick. I got the prospect pulled up on the screen to my left here, on my game at least, so you can't see it, but I'm going to just enter in his name. Next will be his position, how many stars he is. Here you can enter in their overall rating if you know it, like if you do it after the season and the recruits came in. I'm just going to leave it blank for now. I'm going to say that he's committed, put in his height, weight. He is a thumper. And then also here you can put in like whether they're gem or bust. He's neither, so we'll just keep that the same. Impact dev, I don't know yet, but just to show you, I'm gonna put in a star. And then I will put in where he is from. And now I'm gonna add the prospect. Here it'll add them. If it did have an overall, it would show that here. And actually, I'm just going to show you as an example. So we'll put in like a random overall. So here shows 78 overall. And so that's how you add recruits. I'm going to add a couple more just to show you. So this guy, I'm going to make him a gem just to show you what it looks like. And I'll say he has impact. There we go. Now it'll show that he's got the gem symbol right next to his name. That's how you add recruits to your board. You can kind of use this tool however you want. If you wanted to see what players you have committed or guys you're still going after. As you can see here, you can put in a bunch of statuses if you want. It just depends on how in depth you want to go. Also, you can input team needs. You just add whatever position you need, the count, and you can add those. For the next portion of this video, I'm going to show you how to enter in your team stats. It works a lot like all the other stuff. You can just kind of, here you're going to click enter, and I don't have an image uploader for this yet. I may upload one. It's just kind of one line of data, so I haven't made one yet for it. But here you can enter in how many games you played, obviously. So we'll do 13. Now I'm going to show you what the standing screen is. It just kind of shows you what your league leaders are. Also, you can put in top 25 rankings if you do want to keep track of the top 25. You can do that. You just click into this, select the teams you want to enter, save rankings. It'll save those rankings, and you can go week by week also. What you can do is you can go into a season wrap-up screen. Here you can enter in who the champion was. It was Missouri in mine, and then also you can enter in every single conference champion if you'd like to do that. So if you want to enter them all, you just go in, enter them all, click save. It'll save all your conference champions. Next, what I like to track, and I usually do this throughout the season, is kind of in the awards. I like to track the weekly awards as we go. I know that Anna Johnson here in week 1 won the National Offensive Player of the Week. I don't like to keep track of any other players. So I don't really do the custom entries. I just keep track of my team. So you click save, there it saves. I know that in week 2, Emmett also won. And he did in week 3 too. So there, I can hit save week. So more on the awards. I forgot to mention this, but there is a postseason awards. Here you can keep track of all of your award winners. So I know, like, in here you can also add custom players. I know that Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman. I'm gonna enter that in here. I can select his position and what team he plays for. Click save winner. Now he will forever be saved within the Dynasty. I did have Emmett Johnson win the Doak Walker Award, so I can just search him. It'll change him to that. Also here I can enter in postseason Americans. The way you do that is you can click from this drop down, you can click National Conference, or if they won both, you can click all, so I know that Emmett won both. And you can select what tier they won it at. I'm going to select first tier here. Aaron Johnson is going to be both a national and conference All-American now. One other cool thing I can show you is the legacy page. Now if I enter in and go to the legacy page, it'll show me all my achievements, show individual awards I won. So we know Emmett Johnson won the Doak Walker Award in 2025. I can click on that. It'll kind of give me a summary of what his stats were and show the award more in detail. Or I can click on my team achievements and it'll show bowl game wins, conference championship wins, etc. Here, if I go to Program Legends, this is kind of your Hall of Fame. It'll show who you have here. Again, the way you add it is through that player personnel screen and by clicking on their name. Also, if I click on a player's name from here, it'll route me to that player's page and I can see all their season stats, and I can even view their game logs if I want to. And here it'll also show me all his accolades. Also, if I want to, I can upload player highlights. Right now I don't have any highlights in here, so it's saying error, I don't have any highlights. But you can add any highlights, just click title, and then you can either pretty much embed a URL if you want, or you can upload a file here and add the highlight. One other screen we have is the conference finishes screen. Here it is, it's down here, conference standings. Here you can select your season and you can select who was, this is where you can kind of organize where you were in your conference, what the standings were. So you just click these, you drag these. And once you feel like you've got that all sorted out, you can click Save Finishes. If you press this button, Custom Conferences, it'll take you into an area where you can change what teams are part of what conference if you would like to do that. Also, one quick screen to also show you is I do have a rivalries screen where it shows you your record versus all your rivals and your win percentage. And then if you click this drop down, it'll tell you each season what your score was and whatnot. Now that we have most of how I enter in a season's worth of tracking, now that I've kind of showed you what I do in terms of tracking throughout a season, I'm going to show you what I do in the off season to roll it over the next season and get it prepared. Since you have the majority of your players entered, it is a lot easier doing that. So usually what you want to do first is you want to go to this dashboard screen and you want to click add a coaching season. We want to add 2026. If you remain the same team, we'll enter in that team and then also what your role is. So we'll click save changes. Now we should be in 2026. It's going to reset all of this on your right side. And if now I want to go back into the player personnel screen, I'm going to go into my offseason headquarters, click from this drop down, go to 2025, and here it's going to show you all 85 of your players or however many you put out there, and you can easily determine where they went, if they returned or if they graduated, transferred, drafted, etc. So for me, I'm going to say that Emmett Johnson, he was drafted. I can select what round. We'll go round 3. And then Rocco, he was also drafted. He was drafted in round 6. And then some were just graduated, so we'll select him as graduated. Also on this screen, if you want to sort by class or position, you can do that. I'm going to sort through all these players. I'll show you back in about 10 minutes what you do after that. Also, one thing to mention is if you do select a player as returning, it will automatically add them to next year's roster, so you don't have to re-upload the roster. So now I've selected all the players that were returning, transferred, and what have you, so I can go into my roster screen, and I should have a bunch of players on the roster, which I do. Here, if you want to, you can go into your edit actions and you can upgrade their overall. So for Dylan Raiola, I'll say he's a 92 overall now. Update the player. Now I can go into his player profile And here in the bio and info, it'll show you how he's progressed. So that's another kind of hidden tool that's pretty cool about it. The next screen I'm going to show you is this departure screen. With that, you can kind of select where players went in terms of transferring. So here it's going to show you your draft summary and your graduates. I'm going to just go to transferred so I can quickly get to them. And I can select where they went. So I know Isaiah went to Washington. And then Ja'Cory Barney went to Alabama. So it'll put them there so you can see who's transferred out. And if you want a way to track players who transferred in, again, it's going to be in your player personnel. And in the recruiting. And I did have one transfer in running back. It was Jeremiah Cobb. And he was 4-star. He's technically a senior. And here you can select where he came from. I know Jeremiah Cobb came from Auburn. Select there, add transfer. Here, this is how you can add your recruits to your season. So this is very important to always add them to your next year's roster so you don't have to re-enter them in. So I'm going to click add to roster. It's going to add him. I'm going to select this player to add to roster. He'll be added. And now Jeremiah Cobb here will also add him. Now if I go back into my roster screen, I can go and look to make sure those players are in there. Here's Jeremiah Cobb right here. And then also I know one of my freshmen was this Jalen Dishman. It shows him here. So that's how you manage your recruiting and get into the next season. It seems a little confusing, but you just got to play around and figure out what works best for you. Now the final thing I'm going to show is how the awards and how your stats actually display, because I do have records pages. I have game, team, I have all sorts of records, so you can always keep track of you know who your best players were in your dynasty. So here down in the career legacy area, we have a records page. Here it'll show career records, so I can just kind of flip through this. It'll also show their years, so once I enter in more stats for these players, like Dylan Raiola, it'll show like 2025 to 2027. It'll show his career passing yards. Also, if I go into the seasons records page, it shows single season records. Game records will show, obviously, single game records. And here it also shows you versus what opponent they had their yards against. And it shows roughly the top 25 at each stat category. And then a new thing that I'm working on is school records. Here you'll be able to see your record, your dynasty players' records versus what that school has in real life. Just to show you as an example, I do have Illinois in here. Here they are. This is all their legit records and whatnot. This is going to be the end of the video. Sorry if I kind of bounced around a little bit. That's just how I track. Also, if you have any other ideas to make the site a little bit easier to navigate, or how I could kind of sort some of these tab pages out, please let me know. If you want any other features that you'd like, let me know. There is a couple of things that I didn't go over because I just kind of wanted to go through quickly, give an overview for many people that are kind of lost on using the site. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of the love and support. And please like and subscribe. And again, let me know if there's any changes or tools that you would like to see from the site. Also, I'm going to link the Discord down below if you want to join the CFB Clipboard Discord. You can find me in there. It's easier to reach me in there, and you can also put the feedback that you want down in there.